If you sit in Parliament, there's constantly this language of we need to refer this to the SIU, SIU needs to investigate. Do you actually believe that you have the capacity to take on the deluge of corruption allegations, maladministration allegations, irregularity allegations that you're facing at the moment?
Right, and thanks for that question. In fact, in this trajectory that we've seen that gives us 122%, it includes about 44 proclamations that are still in the process of being considered and possibly to be signed off.
Sure.
So, and internally, we are awake to say, in an event where those proclamations, just a hypothesis, in an event that they could be signed, all of them, today, right? Do we have the capacity to deal with those? We believe that from the time we started resourcing the new structure, which is about 4 years or so, we have resourced ourselves such that we are able to deal with the workload. However, we do have an avenue that we have put together in cases where we would require more resources.
Just on the PPE issue, I think it was one of those things that was almost a breaking point for a lot of people, because I think it was in the heart of COVID, people were losing their jobs, the economy, we see the aftermath, and yet you had these allegations of these massive contracts to politically connected people that were unlawful. When SIU just went in there and started investigating, engaging, etc. But what do you think it was about the PPE tender scandal that really demanded some action, because there was such a level of public frustration there?
You would recall that once the state of the disaster was declared and the National Treasury came up with the regulations to procure during the state of disaster, I really think, and this is the observation and I've gone public around it, is that those people who are corrupt, they just saw that as an opportunity to profit here. In fact, just on Wednesday or Tuesday, there's a case that was at the Constitutional Court. Yes. You might be aware of that.
Yes,
okay.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yes,
well.
yes. So there, amongst others, we presented to the Constitutional Court, of course, through our counsel, that there were people who were profiteering and adding a markup of about 833%. That's ridiculous. In fact, that's criminal. But as we speak now, there's other cases that are in the Special Tribunal related to the PPE investigations. I think they count up to about 12.8 million, which we needed to collect. In fact, it's about 12.8 billion. Sorry. So we needed to make sure that we continue even up to now. We need to continue to recover through the Special Tribunal, and there has been outcomes of criminal referrals. There's been outcomes of disciplinary action referrals. So we're really happy. So of importance is to make sure that we monitor.
Then you were talking about the amendments to the SIU Act. Can you give us some insight into those amendments and what are you hoping will you were speaking about recommendations made by the SIU being binding, as they would be, for example, with the public protector.
Yes.
What other insights can you give us into the amendments that are being mulled over at this point?
Right. Of course, at this stage, respecting the legislative program, because those will at some point be made public for comments and so on. But some of the key areas, because in the main, we're kickstarting the amendments so that we can improve further on the efficiencies of the Special Investigating Unit, right? So another example is that when we get the allegation and we need to do an assessment and really just do a test of these allegations, more often we are unable to use our powers, that is before the proclamation. So we need to engage with the departments, request information. Of course, the departments have been cooperative, but in instances where there's no cooperation, we are not able to use our powers at that stage. But we do, of course, get cooperation, and then we are able to verify the allegations and then process through the proclamation. So we want to get the legislation providing for that period that leads up to the proclamation, so that we are able, to get a legislative authority to be able to do an assessment.
Initiate your own kind of stuff.
Yes, that's right.
Instead of being dependent on proclamations.
Well, for that period, it would really be the powers to go in, verify, get the documentation, and when we are satisfied, then we would draft a proclamation and still get the proclamation.
If you back to the issue of having the power to prosecute, obviously with the PPE matter and all that surrounded it, I think there's maybe 1 or 2 prosecutions that are happening. I don't think there are a lot. Do you think that in circumstances where you were perhaps empowered or mandated to take on these cases and take them to full fruition and prosecutions, that kind of delay, which is what causes the South African public, all of us, such despair, could be dealt with more effectively? Because essentially you're not handing over to new people that then have to be briefed. You've got a continuous chain that, it seems like that process may be shortened. Do you think that's an accurate perception?
It is really in the public interest that whoever has committed that crime of corruption and the others, fraud and so on, they be prosecuted speedily. We didn't factor it in as we did our investigation to also engage NPA, to use the model of the grants that the previous model. Of course, the assumption was that we are engaging with NPA. We've got a MOU now, and there's I should say there's willingness on the part of the NPA to ensure that there's speedy prosecution. So we didn't factor that in on the assumption that we'll be able to engage based on the MOU and the willingness on the part of the NPA now to execute the prosecution speedily.